afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am your host, Scott Steehn, lead handicapper over at winnersandwiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwiners.com.
And together we do this every single weekday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Scott and I do our very best to help you guys in that perilous journey as we all attempt to head back to the window and cash those winning tickets. Scott, speaking of winning tickets, how'd your weekend go?
Overall, went pretty well. Ended up having a brutal beat to end my play of the day streak. I believe I won either 5 in a row or 6 in a row or something. But then I had one player on the Flames to have over 2.5 shots on goal. He had 2 with 3 shots that missed the net and 3 shots that were blocked. The Flames had 67 shots on goal. 67. And my guy had 2.
Couldn't get 3. Couldn't get 3.
Couldn't do it. But besides that, overall, pretty solid. I'm assuming you know my story that I posted on Twitter about me having to cross the Verrazano Bridge to play some free bets.
Yes, we talked about that on the Chris's show, where we discovered what your price is to leave your home and cross a bridge. It is at least $650.
But do you know what I took with the $650?
I don't know.
I took Mavericks money line in Game 7.
Oh, that's good play. That's good play.
I had the Suns to win the West. I ended up hedging out of it, and because of that, I ended up making about $1,300.
Nah, that'll teach them to give you free money to play with.
But the funny part is that the Suns to win the West was a free bet too, so I hedged a free bet with a free bet, and I turned it into actual money.
How do those books make money, Scott? My God.
Not the way I use them.
Indeed. Hey, go give some shout-outs here to people in the comment section already. Michael Doe's checking in. Michael, what's up? JC Stone, what up, Scott Brothers? Nothing, man. It's Monday night. It's Monday morning, Monday afternoon, whatever it is where you are. It's a beautiful day. It's a good thing. T-Train checking in, taking a little break from getting the shack ready. What's up, buddy? Setting up the, watching the show while setting up the fryolators.
Get those lobster rolls ready.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of not going the way that they wanted to when you go, I went to 2 concerts last week, Scott. You know how much I spent with me and my wife total on beverages while we were there?
On beverages?
Yep,
Okay.
including tip.
Including tip, okay.
Yep.
I'm going to go with $75.
$12.
Okay.
$12. We went to the concert on Wednesday night. We got a couple of bottles of water, and my daughter took us to both. We were going to drink. My daughter took us and dropped us off because that's, payback for all the trips that we've taken with them. And neither one of us were in the mood to drink either night. We drank 2 bottles of water each night.
Well, you just set me up then. I figured you were going to go on a bender.
No.
No, we actually didn't drink anything.
No, we drank nothing. No,
you set me up for failure.
I know. I know, dude. I apologize, but it was we were absolutely ready to drink, and we just decided, we don't want to do that. So, anyway, nice to be here. T-Trains is breaking his ass. His wife is killing the old man. Yeah, I can't even imagine how long your list of honeydews is when you got a business to fucking open up. That's impenetrable. I'm glad Tony spent a little time with us today. So, Michael Dose was talking about Christopher Bell did well. He ran 4th, right?
I believe so.
Top 10.
I know that he was a leading for, I don't know, like 3 laps, I think.
Yep.
Or something.
Brandon Kubas has been watching every recorded video, but good to be back live. What's up? No, nothing, man. That's a you're doing the Lord's work there, buddy, checking out all of our old videos. So
we haven't moved anywhere, so
No, we're here, and we had a pretty good. I had a pretty good NASCAR day. Got to admit, I hit my.
You had the other Busch.
I had the other Busch. I had Kurt Busch at 40-1, so that was a nice hit. It's the one I've been waiting for to put me in positive money for the season, and the points lead. And I'm just coming for you because you've had 2 winners so far. You've had a mid and a long, so I got to come for you on that mid and get you on the money. But all is right with the world. My path is clear now. So yeah, it's good to be here. Of course, don't forget while you guys are here, smash that like button, hit that thumb. We appreciate the feedback as always, and check out all the great offerings that we have here on our YouTube channels. Of course, you already know about the Winners and Winers YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed there, please get subscribed. And if you're not subscribed to the Winners and Winers or to the Max Wagers Network YouTube channel, please do that. Take a moment to just click on that and hit the subscribe button. We appreciate the effort. A lot of great shows on the Max Wagers Network. It's noon It's Sean Higgs doing Midday Money. 1 o'clock is Allie Burns with Morning Wood. Me and Chris at 2. Me and Scott at 3. Sean Miller talking about soccer from around the globe or across the earth if you're a flat earther. We don't discriminate here. He does that at 4 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock, of course, Detroit Lenny. Nick and Tim are all bringing it all home with Game Time Decision. Scott, I know we're still doing our thing over there at Caesars. It's probably going to go away at some point, but for now, we're still rocking it. And what is that, and why should people take advantage of it?
Well, if you enjoy getting an insurance policy on your first bet with a brand new book, if you have not signed up with Caesars yet, you should. Because if you place a first-time wager up to $1,100, you get it back in the form of a free bet if it loses. So that way, if something you think is a sure bet ends up losing, you get another shot to get your money back.
It's a beautiful thing.
Or to even make money.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And for those of you that poo-poo the free bets and the bonus plays, look no further than the gentleman here on my right as you face your radio dial who cashed a very nice free bet ticket this weekend on the Dallas Mavericks. So,
yeah. Of course, I would have still made more if the Suns won the West, but I would have ended up hedging that anyway, so I'll take the actual money instead of the free bet.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're not exactly the guy that has your finger on the pulse of New York City, but I'll ask the question anyway. Is the city abuzz with the Rangers' victory? Asked Michael Dost.
Well, I don't live in the city, so that's also one thing to keep in mind, but people were excited. Anytime you come back from 3-1 down, there is a little bit of buzz going on. At the same point, it was also an overtime Game 7, which was, of course, the peak of, I'd say, sports pressure. Can we put it that way? I don't know how it gets more intense than that.
Yep.
So, nice win by the Rangers. They got it done. Pittsburgh blew a 3-1 lead, but I don't know if you can really feel like they choked it when their best player basically missed a game and a half.
Right.
But he came back for Game 7. I thought using Jari for Game 7 was really weird. He hadn't played in a month, and you throw him in for a Game 7. He wasn't awful. I didn't think he was good, but good win for the Rangers. City's excited. I still think they're going to lose to Carolina, but they're playing with house money right now.
Yep, and I know your roommate probably was super excited, huh?
To be honest, he actually ejected from the bet before the game, and I didn't even know about it.
Pulled the ripcord, huh?
I congratulated him on making $1,000, and he told me I hedged, I made $40. I said, $40, not that bad. You know, that's a lot of scratch-offs. But no, he apparently hit the eject button.
Okay, here's the best comment of the day so far. T-Train's wife had something to say. She said, this is Kim. He's full of shit. I'm getting the work out of him before he plays the senior abuse card. Oh, there's always two sides to every story. That's excellent. Kim, thanks for checking in and letting us know what was really going on, setting us straight. That fucking T-Train, Jesus Christ. By the way, we'll let him plug it here later. If you're in the Connecticut area, get up there and see T-Train. You please do that for me this year, Scott.
Yeah.
Please go up and lead a lobster roll for me or something.
Once T-Train lets me know when it's open, I'll stop by.
I think he said Memorial Day. I think he said it's coming. So, yeah, very good. Lex Steele checking in the house. Great Scott, jumping. I can't do the doc.
Doc Brown?
Jim, what the hell is his name?
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Why couldn't I think of that, man? I had Jim.
Marty.
I know. I can't do it. But Thanks, Lex. We appreciate it. Hey, man, there was a lot that went on over the weekend. Let's find out what it is, shall we? Let's check it out. Find out who are the winners, who are the whiners, the good news, the bad news. You know who you are, who had a nice, easy time of it, and who thought they had a winner, only to have defeat snatched away from the jaws of victory at the very last moment. Oh, it's Monday, kids. We got to talk about it. It's Call the Cops. All right, very good. Oh, man, so many. How about Stars Flames? First period, over 1.5. They scored a goal with 40 seconds gone. So all you need is one more goal the next 19 minutes and 20 seconds, and you got no more goals. It was 1-0 after one. Ooh, Call the Cops.
And looking at probably the funniest Call the Cops of, I don't know, the month, the year. If you had the San Francisco Giants team total under 3.5 against the Cardinals, a little Sunday Night Baseball action on ESPN, they had 2 runs enter in the 9th inning. They were down 15-2. So you figure they'll bring in some random guy they just called up out of AAA, some innings eater just to show up.
Uh-huh.
Can I interest you in Albert Pujols being called in to pitch
I've
in
heard.
a 13-run game?
I've heard of him. He's pretty good.
He's never pitched before, though.
Not known as a pitcher.
Majors.
Well, I guess you cross it off his bucket. We all have different bucket lists, Scott.
I guess so. But either way, the Cardinals brought Pujols in, and the Giants scored 4 runs against him. They lost the game, but they finished with 6 runs. If you had under 3.5 and you had Albert Pujols pitching on your bingo card, you can probably call bingo, because that's a ridiculous beat.
Oh, I'll call the cops there. Jesus.
Do you think that's frowned upon?
What's that?
I know that people do it when they're losing. You bring in the position player. Are you okay with bringing in a position player when you're winning? Or do you think that's a little disrespectful?
Is this another unwritten rule?
No, I'm just asking.
I don't give a shit.
I don't care either. I'm just curious.
What's
Because I don't care about any of the unwritten rules either. But I'm just asking in general because I'm used to that happening when you're losing 15-2.
We only have one unwritten rule on this show, and that is if you don't
suck.
If you don't want to look like a moron, don't suck. That's our only rule on Back to the Window. Finishing it up, staying in the world of baseball. If you had the Phillies on the money line going against the Dodgers, they led by 1 run, 2 outs in the 9th. Can somebody get me a goddamn closer? Nope. How about Lux? 2-run walk-off double. Phillies lose 5-4. The only game they lost in that series, I believe, by the way.
Yeah, a couple games earlier were close. I know you had an extra innings game or 2 there. But Phillies went for the sweep, and the bullpen blew up. So that happens.
Outstanding. Outstanding indeed. Well, there was some good news out there. And, man, you probably know who you were here. And you're going to wonder where one of them is. And, of course, it deserves its own segment. Let's find out who had a nice, easy time of it, who was kicked back on their Sunday. I'm sure this is what T-Train was doing, just sitting there. He was just relaxing in the rocking chair.
Allegedly working.
As he sat and dreamed about working in the rocking chair.
So the first one, if you had the Celtics and Bucks under 206, or even if you just had the Celtics minus the 5,
I did.
You had 3 quarters that had less than 48 points, and the game landed 190. The Celtics won that game by north of 20. So really either one, never in doubt.
Nope, really wasn't. And if you had the Mariners-Mets over 7.5, 9 runs, first 4 innings. Your wife comes in and says, "Why are you still watching the game? I thought you had the over." You're like, yeah, I was still watching the game. But
they play outdoors. You got to sweat out the rain delay.
Yeah, get your shit together. It's time to go put the Fryolator in. So, 9 runs, first 4 innings. That game landed 15. Never in doubt there if you had the over.
And the last one, if you had the Nationals, team total under 3.5 against Verlander. Yeah, Verlander was pitching, so the Nationals never really had a shot. They had 4 hits in the entire game. I believe they only had 5 plate appearances with runners in scoring position in the entire game, and they finished with 0 runs.
There you go, right there. All right. Well, Scott, we have to talk about it. There's 2 kind of stories that could have gone here, but we're going to go with this one. It was something that doesn't happen very often. In fact, I don't believe it's happened since 2006.
I don't know.
It's
been a while.
It's been a while. Let's find out who it is. I can't even imagine who it would be, Scott. Who qualified for the weekend version of Donkey of the Day? So we talked about this on Chris's show, and if you didn't see that, we'll clue you in. A very rare feat happened over the weekend. The Reds finally got a little pitching. Threw a no-hitter, Scott. It's time to celebrate. Swamp the pitcher on the mound. Everybody puts him on their shoulders. They take a victory. I'm sorry, wait a minute. Oh, they lost that game. That's right. They threw a no-hitter against the Pirates. Still managed to lose 1-0. That is the 6th time that has happened in Major League Baseball. My God, when you're snake bit, huh?
Well, it seemed a little bit weird because the Reds were an over team for about a week and a half. The series against the Brewers, they were scoring a bunch of runs. And then again, in the series finale against the Pirates, they just decided, you know what? Scoring runs is overrated. We're just going to lose the game. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this officially counts as like a Hall of Fame worthy baseball or not, because they only pitched 8 innings.
Right. Yeah.
So that doesn't count in the record books, does it?
As a no-hitter?
It's like a facetious record, but I don't think it actually counts, does it?
I
thought you have to go full 27.
I don't know. I honestly don't know because it doesn't come up very often. That's a great question. If it counts as a no-hitter, if you've retired everyone you could have faced and not given up a hit, is it still a no-hitter? Because we had the situation where they were playing the 7-inning doubleheader games with Madison Bumgarner a couple of years back, where he threw the 7-inning no-hitter, but it ended up
it didn't count for anything.
Not officially counting, right? So I don't know, bud. It was a regulation game, so I don't know. We'll have to find out. And
you said it's happened 6 times before. A couple of those did count because I'm sure some of them were the home team.
Sure.
So they had to face the batters in the 9th. But since you only had to record 24 outs instead of 27, I'm assuming it's the facetious 6th time it's ever happened, but it doesn't actually count towards anything in terms of the record book.
See, my guess is it counts. That'd be my hunch, and we'll try to find that out. And because I'm sure
it's not like it really matters. They lost the game anyway.
I'm sure it's on Twitter somewhere. So yeah, 3 walks. Starter walked the first 2 guys, brought in a reliever. Walked the next guy. Fielder's choice ball game.
Yeah,
there it was. Okay, well, I think we all know where this is headed, but we still have.
Well, it's an elephant in the room, and it's time for us to talk about it, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So let's find out who it is. If you don't know, maybe you'll be surprised, but for the rest of you, you're like, yeah, okay, I could definitely see that. Let's find out who it was, Scott. You're not mad. Holy shit. Does it get more disappointing? So you mentioned you had a futures ticket on the Phoenix Suns, and you decided to hedge that a little bit. That ended up being a good move. Why, Scott?
Well, because the Phoenix Suns, we know that the home team was dominant in the first 6 games of the series, and people thought that the Suns would once again roll in Game 7. In their defense, the game was a blowout, but the Suns got absolutely killed. And if you want to look at the actual score, the Mavericks won the game 123-90. The Suns were 6.5-point favorites, and the Suns scored 27 points in the entire first half, the same amount of points as Luka Doncic in the entire first half.
I don't know where to start.
There's a lot of layers to unpack here.
Well, let me unpack one that pissed me off. They scored 27 points in the first half. The game still went over the fucking total.
Yes, it did.
How about that? Because I played all 3 games. I played all 4 games yesterday, the 2 NBA games, the 2 hockey games. I played them all under the total.
I like the unders as well. The Rangers one I would have stayed away once Crosby was ruled active, but of course you did that earlier,
right?
So that makes sense.
Correct. So yeah, that was not ideal. As it was stunning. Where they put up 72 in the fourth quarter, some ridiculous shit.
Truth is, I actually watched none of that game because the Suns game was going on in the middle of the Rangers overtime. Or
right.
At least the Rangers' third period onward, and I'm not going to change off a 1-goal game in a Game 7 in hockey. Like, that's just not happening. They put up 71 in the fourth
71. 71 in the fourth quarter. Congratulations, you fucking dicks.
But either way, all I know is that I know the Suns game was on. I knew nothing about the game because I was watching the Rangers thing. Rangers won. I checked Twitter, and I saw a bunch of messages saying, what the hell's going on with Phoenix? So I figured they're probably down 15. I checked back. They're down 40. Yeah. And I really had no idea what was going on. Nothing could have prepared me for that.
They lose by 33 in a game that you could legitimately say wasn't that close.
It was not.
So
now, James saying that he told me that Phoenix was not the team, I agree because I straight up hedged the Mavericks. So I was aware Phoenix was definitely bleeding or just leaking oil at that point. And it seemed like once Game 4 started, the gas was on E. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's a lot to unpack there. Do you have any specific thoughts about the Suns' massive collapse? People are talking about how it's the worst loss or one of the worst losses in NBA history. I think it's got to be up there. Well, it's an all-time no-show.
I sent that to you guys in the text chain, and I was a little more specific. I thought it might be one of the worst Game 7 performances in NBA history. And
Game 7, it has to be. You're at home, you lose by 33.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly.
an all-timer.
Exactly. You're losing to the line by 39.5 points. I don't know when you're going to see that.
And you don't even have an injury alibi.
No,
like your team was healthy.
No. Ty says you had to bet on the best player in the series, and that's Luka. Well, that turned out to be a good strategy because they were able to hold serve at home. And Luka stepped up big time in the 7th game. That was absolutely true. I told her that the Phoenix.
I do want to ask you, who do you think is the most responsible for the Suns' implosion? Because the popular answer is Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Because this is the 5th time in his career he has blown a 2-0 lead in a series. No other player ever has more than 3. He has 5. So if we're going with the Doc Rivers,
he's the Doc Rivers of players.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, there's a lot of people to blame here. Chris Paul had the quad injury that leaked after. Truth is, you knew that an injury was going to leak. You're assuming he was injured anyway because he did absolutely nothing for the final 3 games of the series.
Right.
Truth is, he really did nothing besides game 1. You could just assume that he was injured.
For the final 5, he went like 12, 5, 7, 9. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Booker was talking crap to Doncic in the middle of game 5. And then after that, he was awful, and he got Luka going.
Well, see,
stupid.
Ty brings that up that CP3 and Booker had 3 points at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck,
It was an all-time no-show by them, too. Ayton also looked terrible. He only played 17 minutes. Monty Williams basically said directly in the press conference, we benched him, and now he's in line for a massive contract. I don't think Phoenix is going to pay it. I'll tell you that much. I don't know who would pay it. Somebody would, but I wouldn't. But It really goes down to the best 3 players for Phoenix all just did not show up when it mattered. And you can argue that coaching did not get the players motivated or not get them ready for the game. I don't buy that. I'm not blaming Monty Williams for Chris Paul, injured or not, playing terribly, and for Booker forgetting how to shoot. I can't blame that on the coach. At some point, your players have to make plays. And you could tell in the middle of game 4, for me, it was a Sunday game. Chris Paul fouled out with 9 minutes to go. I looked at the series. I had the Suns minus 1.5, which I gave out a couple weeks ago. They still won game 5 at home, but I could tell that this Phoenix team was really struggling to score. And the half-court offense, which I thought was amazing going into the series, was awful throughout the entire series on the road and in game 7 especially. I think my main takeaway for the actual series was that the Suns did a lot of trash talking, and they really couldn't back it up. And Doncic is one of the last guys in the league you want to trash talk.
Yep, agreed. Bronco Devil says, my name is Luka. He lives on the top floor. Mm-hmm. Nice little suit.
Well, Luka is projected to be, a top 10 player in the history of the sport if he continues this trajectory?
Oh, sure. If he continues
If he keeps this trajectory, he'll finish top 5.
Stays healthy, absolutely.
But I do want to ask you one thing about this, a segue, because a lot of people, whether it's on Twitter, whether it was Pat Beverly on First Take and Get Out today. He did a bunch of ESPN shows, whatever. Everyone's roasting Chris Paul. And it makes sense because he was awful in the series. However, there's a lot of people claiming that Chris Paul now is overrated and how he's a fraud and how there's a bunch of random stuff going on. How many legacy games does a guy need to have before you just realize he's still a very good player? Like, I understand Chris Paul was awful in the final couple games of the series, but he also led the team to the finals last year, and he's had a bunch of great moments with teams before. Isn't it a little bit harsh to dismiss his entire career based on a series of games in a week?
It's the way of the world, man.
I know it is. I just think it's ridiculous. And Pat Bev's talking about how Chris Paul is a fraud and how he's not scared of Chris Paul. Didn't Chris Paul drop 41 on your head in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals last year?
Yes, he did.
And then Beverly shoved him in the back and got ejected for taking a cheap shot.
That's correct.
Like, I understand that you can roast a guy while he's down. The Timberwolves team, you had Pat Bev and Anthony Edwards taking shots at the Suns. What did you do? You blew a bunch of 20-point leads in the first round. Why are you talking?
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to segue into Bill McDonald's point. He says Booker and Paul talk more trash than
that's
anybody.
What I was saying. They talked a lot of crap.
So do you think that's kind of like one of the Newton's law there, that the equal and opposite reaction, like it'll just come back stronger at you? You talk that shit, and when you're on top, but when you're down, man, people remember that, and they just kind of go extra hard at you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that the Michael Jordan quote had that Jock tweeted out after they lost Game 1 to Minnesota. Anybody can talk trash when they're up. It takes a true man to trash talk when they're down, and the Suns were front runners. The truth is, most teams in the league nowadays are front runners. You can argue that Golden State's also a front runner because when they're winning, they do a bunch of dancing, they do a bunch of three-point celebrations, and when they're losing, they don't do anything. A lot of teams in the league are front runners. The Suns definitely went above and beyond because unlike Golden State, the Suns don't have any championships. So it's definitely a lot weaker when you're talking that much trash when you have not really won any hardware to back it up. The Warriors have, but in the league, wouldn't you agree that there's just a lot of runnering going
Sure.
on because it seems like teams will always trash talk when they really shouldn't until the series is actually over?
Yes, absolutely true. Andrew brings up a great point that probably gets overlooked a lot. CP3 won the gold medal for Team USA in the 2012 Olympics. He said LeBron and Kobe were also on the floor. So, yeah, people do forget.
Chris Paul is still, in my opinion, a top 5 point guard of all time. But the idea that you can just throw all of his accolades and all of his achievements in the garbage because of the fact that, A, people don't really like him because he's a little bit dirty with a mix of rules manipulation. So people don't exactly like the way that he plays basketball. And B, he was terrible recently. But I'm not going to throw him completely under the bus and throw his entire career in the garbage because of 2 games.
Okay.
Like, that's just crazy. But yes, he did suck. I'll admit that.
Bronco Devil says he's just going to comment from now on in song titles. And then he follows it up with, "The sun ain't gonna shine anymore." Do you know that song?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm trying to remember who that's by, but I have heard that before.
Do you know, "There Goes the Suns, do-do-do-do-do"?
Yeah, is that also the Beatles?
That is the Beatles, yes it is. The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore is not the Beatles. I want to say it's like a one-hit wonder. Maybe Bronco Devil can help us out here.
Do you have any thoughts on the whole whatever dynamic? Because I find it weird with front-runnering and really just how toxic NBA or even sports Twitter is. Why are players that are eliminated from the playoffs talking crap about teams that just lost? Like, what have you done?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a special lane when you've just got your ass handed to you and now you're talking shit.
If you're the Timberwolves and you blew 3 separate double-digit leads in the fourth quarter, then why are you criticizing the Suns? Win a playoff round.
Agreed. Rick Zeff says Marlins and Blue Jays says back that tractor up. Loaded up with the Bucks, man.
Also with the Chris Paul thing, just last point. Remember when he went 14 of 14 in a closeout game against the Pelicans about a week and a half ago?
Yes.
Most people don't.
You were dancing on the top 3-point guard train of all time. Yes.
I still think he's top 5.
I remember that.
That's not going to go away. But that's what I'm saying. It's so flimsy because 2 weeks ago, he had arguably the greatest performance of all time by a point guard in the playoffs, and now he sucks. And he's a fraud. It's really just crazy how quickly people can flip on social media and whatever.
You gotta stay off of Twitter, man.
Yeah, it is what it is.
You gotta stay off of Twitter. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I have to keep the people informed. You see it all the time.
I do like the Marlins. They're a big favorite with Alcantara on the mound going up against Sanchez. Sanchez has been trash. So
yes, he's been awful. And the Nationals are also bad. So Sanchez fits right in.
Yes, absolutely true. You like the Cooch tonight against Flexen?
Seattle had a nice series win over the Mets. They're still not very good, but neither's Toronto. Toronto's what, 18 and 17?
Toronto is 18 and 17. That's correct.
We thought they would win the division.
Yep.
Going in.
Yep.
I thought they had an even bigger advantage because of the COVID rules in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that some players might not be able to make the trip over.
Right.
But yeah, Toronto just hasn't been very good. And the offense has been a bit underwhelming. The pitching's been meh.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I would lean to Kikuchi. Bit of a revenge angle there because, he used to play for them and now he doesn't.
Right.
But what do you think? Because I feel like I like Toronto, but I really don't want to lay 160.
Yeah, that's my problem. I think the price is too high.
I think for value, I'd lean Seattle, but Seattle, even though they just won a series in Citi Field, they're 7-12 on the road.
Right.
Like they're really bad on the highway.
They also don't play well against left-handers. They're just 3-7 against lefties on the season. Now, as you guys probably know, because we always have a special place in our heart for the Cooch. He struggled, but he's been good in his last 2 starts, giving up 3 earned runs and 11 in a third. So there could be signs on the horizon he's turning it around, and I know that's probably what Rick is counting on is the Cooch to turn it around, because Flexen, after being average, had 2 great starts and then was absolutely drilled last time up, giving up 6 earned in 5 innings, including 2 home runs. So I get it with the recent trends. I just think this is too close of a game to lay that kind of a number. So that's my opinion on that. I think you're probably right, Rick. I just think the price is too high.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Springer is healthy, so
Yep.
Bronco Springer's in the lineup. That has been confirmed.
Rick says Blue Jays -2.5. Ah, damn, you're just giving Flexen no love at all.
I'm fine if you want to fade a pitcher and you have a good reason for it. I think Toronto could easily win this game, but we've seen baseball's a game of streaks, and Seattle's been underperforming up to this point, 16-19. But they won a series. Maybe that carries over. Toronto has really just been awful.
And
just to go through the games here. Sorry, you can make your point.
I was just going to say it's kind of hard to cap this game because you don't know who's not playing for Seattle.
I do. The lineups have been confirmed.
Oh, the lineups are out as of now.
Yes, it has officially been confirmed.
So
you want to know about?
Yeah, who's not going to be able to play with COVID?
I'll go down the lineup. You have Toro leading off, France, Crawford, Rodriguez, Winker, Suarez, Torrens, Steven Souza, and Dylan Moore.
Okay, what does that tell me? Do you know their lineup by heart?
Haniger's hurt, I think, so he's not in the lineup.
I was going to see who played yesterday.
But anyway, that's the lineup. So it's on RotoWire if you want to actually see the daily lineup. So that's been confirmed.
Okay. All right.
James saying that's the most I've ever defended somebody. Could be with Chris Paul. I'm a fan of Chris Paul. But I try to be realistic about it. I defend people when they're worth defending. And I defend Monty Williams. I'm not blaming him for the players not showing up. People can pick their spots. It's a lot easier to hate on somebody than to defend somebody when they're in the middle of their lowest point. But I try to be fair about it. Just usually when we talk about I'm not mad or I'm just disappointed, it's not a good thing that happened, you know? The segments we have are more catered towards some of the negative stuff, besides Gambling Hero.
Right. That's definitely true. And we even put it out there. We even talked about at one point, instead of doing Call the Cops, where we did like miracle wins.
What's this we stuff?
And
you were the one who said that. Nobody wanted it.
When nobody wanted it. No, I totally agree. Nobody wanted
people like the negative.
Yeah, people like the negative. So we give the people what they want.
I defend a lot more people on podcasts, but in this format, we have to focus on what just happened, and usually that revolves around some negative stuff.
Fair enough. All right. Somebody asking about the Houston game tonight. Houston and Boston.
We're going to save our opinions on that for later.
There you go. Have you guys talked about the Bucks versus Celtics already? No, a little bit. We talked about it on our segment, but
I don't really have any takeaways for it because the only question that you could have in the series is based on a hypothetical. If Middleton's healthy, do the Bucks win the series? It's the only thing you can talk about because you can make the argument that the Celtics were the better team, which is obviously the case. I had the Celtics winning the series. I said that when the series started. And my main reason, no Middleton. You can't pay a guy $40 million or $35 million and he's not going to play and expect to win the series against an elite team. I think the Celtics are the better team with the current lineups. But if Middleton was playing, Bucks in 6. Okay. So do I have any takeaways? No. The Celtics are a great defensive team, which I said because I watched my team get their ass kicked by them in the first round. But the Bucks were shorthanded. The Celtics beat up on a shorthanded team through 7 games. Do you have any takeaways? Because that's really all I have.
No, I was. My takeaway is kind of an offshoot of yours. Is that I think Middleton was way more important to that team than the average fan gave him credit for.
Middleton's stock right now is at like an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
But Andrew's talking about Grant Williams, how he was great.
Yep.
Definitely true. He had a bunch of points. I believe he had 27, hit a bunch of threes. But at the end of the day, the Celtics hit 22 3-pointers, and the Bucks went 4 for 33.
Yep.
It's impossible to win a game when you get outscored by 18 at the 3-point line.
Can't do it.
18 threes, by the way. So that's 50. That's 54 points.
Let's talk. Ooh, look at you doing the
math. Quick maths. I'm just saying.
The series price: Celtics minus 177, Heat plus 157. Where's the value there?
I would wait until after game 1 and bet the Celtics, because based on the scheduling spot, same thing with the Golden State series.
Yep.
It's a huge scheduling advantage for both the Warriors and the Heat, because you're at home. You've been off since basically Friday. He'd have been off, I believe, even sooner than Friday.
Right.
And the other teams had to play on the road. Well, Celtics played at home, but you had to play in Game 7, and now you basically have a 1 to 2 day turnaround. It's a rough spot. I think the Heat and the Warriors should win Game 1. I think the Celtics are going to win the series. So my play would be to wait till Game 1. It's a gamble, but I do think the Heat should win Game 1 and then come back with the Celtics.
I've been ride or die with the Heat the whole way. I've told everybody all along they're the best team in the East. I'm getting them.
Do you like them in 7, in 6? Do you want a -1.5? What are you looking for?
I don't generally play series that way. I would play them. If I had to gun to my head, I'd have to play them in 7.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a bloodbath, as you got two great defensive teams going at it.
I like the under in every game. It's gonna be the same exact thing as the Bucs series, under or pass.
Jim said you showing mad math skills like Rain Man.
Thank you. How many toothpicks?
Can you do that?
No.
Can you do the
That's
toothpicks?
impossible.
Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it, man. Ninja says Celtics money line Game 1.
I really hate the spot. I think I like Boston as a team. I think they're the better team. No offense to Miami, but it's a really bad spot to play a Game 7 while the other team's been taking notes for about 4 days, and you travel to Miami your first game with really no time off in between. It's a pretty bad scheduling spot.
Welcome to Miami.
You?
Oh, I can't argue with that.
It's a horrible scheduling spot.
I can argue with you on a lot of things. Like, oh no, I think it's to their advantage to be tired when the other team is much more well rested, especially since they have to go on the road. I think it's a great spot.
Plus, we're looking at once again preparation.
Yeah.
The Heat have been watching every game of the series, trying to game plan.
Sure.
And the Celtics were so busy prepping for Milwaukee, they have like 1 day to prepare for Miami.
Absolutely.
It's really just a bad spot.
Absolutely true. Of course, they've got they played them in the regular season and whatnot.
Of course, but playoff basketball is different.
Absolutely. Mavericks Warriors. Catching plus 180 on the Mavs, buddy.
I like the Mavericks as an overall just Luka dominant team.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like every series I'm picking, I hate the Mavericks. I liked them in the first series against Utah, even though Doncic was going to miss a couple games because I hated Utah. I had the Suns -1.5 because the Suns were the best team in the league in the regular season, and I just figured that Ayton would do enough to make Dallas pay. That did not happen over the course of 7 games. I'm going with Golden State, and it's nothing against Dallas. I know Luka's the best player on the floor, but I'm trying to imagine how Luka's going to really conserve energy when he's constantly chasing around these 3-point guys on the perimeter, and instead of having Gobert or Ayton guard him on the perimeter, you have Draymond Green. The thing that Golden State can do that the Suns and the Jazz could not was successfully go small to match Dallas's lineup. And I think we would agree that Golden State's small lineup is better than Dallas's. So I'm picking Golden State to win the series.
Okay.
You? I don't mind the price.
I like both. I got both dogs here. I think one of those dogs comes out and I make a profit. And I wouldn't be stunned to see them both come out.
It's another bad spot for Dallas in Game 1. So I think you can make an argument if you do like the dogs in the series, you might want to wait till after Game 1 for Dallas, and suddenly your plus 180 turns to plus 250.
Yeah, I get that. And that's certainly a gamble you could take.
But if you're asking me what I think is going to happen in the Golden State-Dallas series, I think Golden State is simply put going to wear down Luka stamina-wise by forcing him to chase people around the 3-point line for the entire series.
Fair enough. Rick Zepp said, I wonder if they ever deflated basketballs. I think the Suns were playing with those last night.
But they were the home team, so they accidentally switched it for the wrong side,
So let's talk about this game, and this is one that I'm kind of on this. Miles Mikolas going against Williams with the Mets and Cards. Mets are -115. Does that seem?
I thought the game got postponed.
Has that been officially postponed? I didn't see it.
I thought it did. I believe
I've been a little busy.
I don't know if it's officially postponed, but it looks like there's going to be some really bad weather. So
is it raining?
it's officially canceled.
Damn it! Is it raining up there in New York?
Yes.
Oh,
it is
okay.
raining.
All right. Well, very good. Well, never mind then, because I thought it was a bit of a banana in the tailpipe. But
it was, but
there you go. Okay. Well, forget about that. Quit asking about games that aren't going to be played, Bronco Devil. Jesus, knock it off. Oh man.
Cueto's making his season debut for the White Sox.
Yeah, Chris and I talked about that on the last show. They announced it about, I guess, somewhere around 12:30 Eastern time, 1:30 Eastern, that Cueto was going to get the start.
He's quite familiar in the arena.
He'll get a nice hand at Royal Stadium. We were looking at his stats. He was 3-7 for the Royals when he came over in a trade.
Good in the playoffs.
Great in the playoffs. Well, he had a couple of average games and a couple of great games in the playoffs, and those are the ones he'll be remembered.
He didn't kill you, and that's all that matters.
Nope, didn't kill us at all. King Me says bets, Brewers, Blue Jays, and the Cardinals. Well, as we just talked about, you can scratch the Cardinals. Blue Jays and Brewers.
We already talked about the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Brewers, kind of torn because 145 is a little bit hefty, but Atlanta's not very good on the road, and Acuna's still banged up. So Atlanta should be a bit shorthanded. I guess I'm okay with it. We've talked about Jethro and how he's been pretty good, but the walks are concerning. So he does let up some base runners from time to time. You have any thoughts here? Because with Acuna potentially being out of the lineup, I can understand why Milwaukee's laying this price.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's one of my favorite plays on the card, but I can understand it.
I'll tell you what, Freddie Peralta makes a career out of disappointing me. It's a guy that I just cannot get a beat on. If I fade him, he wins. If I back him, he loses. So for what that's worth, I think you're getting a pretty good price on this Atlanta team, but they haven't been able to pitch at all. They've given up 35 runs in their last 5 games. That's just not ideal. So it's hard to get behind them. Yeah, minus 135. The price is a little steep, but I can't back this Atlanta bullpen right now.
I mean, if you're asking me, I would rather lay that on the Angels, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick laying 140, 145, something like that, I'd rather lay it on the Angels just because I don't think Ray's very good. You're looking at Syndergaard's numbers. He's been great, and the Angels overall have been very good. So I would rather lay it there.
I kind of have an unwritten rule against laying a big number and a relatively big number like 130 or above against quality pitchers.
Yeah.
And Ian Anderson has shown his ability to definitely be a quality pitcher. So.
Once again, there are a couple of flaws with him this season, but overall he's still pretty good. But I didn't really like anything on the card today, to be honest. I mean, if you looked at my play today, I did a prop. I did one of my Nerfies, so keep an eye on that.
Ooh, what you got for a Nerfie, buddy?
I have the Diamondbacks Dodgers Nerfie at even money. Gonsolin and Bumgardner, you could do worse.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. All right, my friend. Well, we've talked about everything else. How'd we waited. We had a delayed farm play. We waited all the way till Saturday. We built the suspense.
It was such a good play, too.
We wrote a great trend. And
it was such a good play.
How'd that work out?
4 goals going into the third with the 3-1 game, by the way. So you're looking at maybe 2 empty net opportunities.
Yep.
And instead, Carolina does not score in an empty netter, and then Boston scores with like 20 seconds left. 3-2 final. We had the over 5.5.
Fucking ridiculous.
Such a great spot, though.
I know.
Such a great spot. 4 goals with the perfect goal differential for the empty netters, and it just didn't work out.
Yep, absolutely not. So let's get fired up. Kenny says John Gray's very inconsistent. There you go. Oh, hey, Kenny, you were just about 30 seconds early. Hey, let's find out what we got cooked up for today, buddy. It's a new day. It's a new week. It's a new pick. It is time, once again, to do our thing. Let's put on our fancy Monday overalls, adjust those straw caps, climb aboard your John Deere, get the keys out, put them in the ignition, and fire that bad boy up because, kids, you know what time it is. It is time, once again, to bet the farm. All right. I got bad news, Scott. I dog knocked my hat down on the floor. I couldn't get to it.
It's all good.
Picture me like that, only with the hat. So your hat tipped, everybody? Good afternoon? All right, very good.
Ma'am?
It's been kind of your thing, ma'am. All right. Well, I know a couple people have talked about this game, and yeah, we definitely wanted to talk about it. We like it quite a bit. It is going to be the Houston Astros on the money line going up against the Boston Red Sox. You can get that at even money, plus 100 at our good friends over there at Caesars. Hey, speaking of Caesars, don't forget to take advantage of the deal that Scott told you about earlier. $1,100 free bet. Check it out in the description. Anyway, the Astros have been playing very good baseball. They have won 12 of their last 13. Meanwhile, the Red Sox, they have not been playing good baseball as they have lost 7 of their last 10. Astros playing very good on the highway. They have won 14 of their first 22, 14-8 to you and me, while the Red Sox inexplicably can't hit and can't win at Fenway Park as they've gone just 4-9 in their first 13, and they are hitting terribly in that park. Odorizzi has been good, giving up just 1 earned run over his last 3 games. We'll see how that goes. We like the Astros at a nice price. That's in the bargain bin today, kids, and we're snapping it up. It is bargain bin Monday, and we're catching the Astros at plus 100. We'll play that all day, as far as the farm goes. Scott?
Yeah, plus Whitlock we know is good overall. He was awful against Atlanta in his last outing, but most importantly, even when he is good, he does not go much distance.
And Boston
has the 7th worst bullpen ERA in the league. So even if Whitlock does throw a gem for 4 or 5 innings, have fun with this bullpen.
Yep.
Because the Astros offensively, they can mash.
They keep coming at you. Absolutely. Remember, a lot of right-handed power on that Astros team. Hello, Green Monster. You've been a long-lost friend. So, yeah, we like the Astros to take care of business there, and that's going to do it for the farm. That's going to do it for the show here on this beautiful Monday. We do thank everybody for stopping by to join us. We appreciate it. As always, don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe buttons and blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. You always take good care of us. We appreciate the effort. But until tomorrow, you guys have a great day. Good luck on all your plays. Hope you enjoy baseball. We'll be back with 3 sports tomorrow, Scott. So that'll be fun as we get rolling in the semifinals in hockey and the finals in the NBA. But until then, we wish you nothing but the best. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to come back and see us tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Scott and I will do our very best to help you in that never-ending journey to head back to the window. Take care, everybody.